following the biggest offseason of moves and acquisitions by General Manager Howie Roseman. The expectations of this city have never been higher. Welcome to the 2022 Lehocky Postgame Show on 6abc.com and across the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel, exclusively presented by Lehocky Giordano. Live from the Gallery Bar, booking games inside Ocean Casino Resort. Let's get this postgame show underway. EAGLES, Eagles.
Well, they look pretty ready to me. The Eagles opened their playoff season with a bang. They demolished the New York Giants 38-7. And everything was working today. I mean, let's face it. After a couple of weeks where we had a little bit of angst about the Eagles, didn't really see what we saw during the middle of the season. They were back right on their horse and back to that middle of the season dominance. Guys, listen, everything worked today. With Jalen Hurts, we were worried about how he would respond. He looked 100% healthy, especially on the first drive. Kenneth Gainwell comes out of the blue for 112 yards. The Eagles' defense was totally dominant. Daniel Jones didn't know what to do, totally overwhelmed in this game. And their offensive line, believe it or not, they allowed only 3 pressures the whole night. So it can't get more complete than this. They're ready.
Well, they came out and set the tone from the very first time they got the ball. First of all, I can't believe the Giants win the toss and defer. Now, a lot of teams like to defer. But in this case, if I'm the Giants, knowing that you are outman firepower for firepower, I want the ball first. But the Eagles come out, start at their own 25. First play, Sanders running the ball. Second play, Hurts goes deep to let everybody know that the shoulder's okay. 40-yard strike to Devontae Smith. Then, he goes to a hitch pass to Devontae Smith, slant pass to A.J., and then, of course, he has the keeper. You got to let everybody know we're running the quarterback runs tonight. All right, so he does that. Then he scrambles again, and then, of course, the signature play on the drive, the one-handed grab by Goddard, which brought the house down for the touchdown. After that, it was all academic.
Yeah, by the way, I'm Mike Missinelli. That's Derek Gunn and Seth Joyner.
I've been called worse.
The Lehocky Eagles postgame show. Seth, we're looking. We don't really know what to expect them to come out of the chute because we hadn't seen it in so long. But they overwhelmed that team. That team did not. I mean, they were beat early in this game, and you could see it in the Giants' body language.
Well, I believe that the Giants had a false sense of security in the victory that they had last week against Minnesota. To your point, D. Gunn, you're talking about why would they defer? They would defer because they feel as though if their offense comes out and performs at the level it performed last week, then they want the ball coming out of the half in the second half. They had no idea that they'd be down 28-0 at halftime. Because, again, I believe they were kind of lulled to sleep into believing that they were better than really what they were, and they got put in their place by the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there was a lot of concerns about the Philadelphia Eagles coming into this game. Not only the injury to Lane Johnson and obviously, and most importantly, Jalen Hurts, but also from the standpoint of how the Eagles have played the last 4 weeks of the season. Again, I would submit to you that things didn't really start to go sideways for the Birds until Jalen got hurt. They struggled through a game in Chicago, but up until that point in time, they were dominant all the way through. So, of course, you got your backup quarterback having to start 2 games. Then you bring your starter back, under protective measures, wrapped in bubble wraps for Week 18. So that obviously you roll into the first playoff game, the divisional game, and naturally the thought is going to be, what are we going to get? I think the Eagles really picked up offensively and defensively right where they left off before Jalen Hurts got hurt.
Absolutely no question about that. Extremely well prepared for this game. And, obviously we're all looking at Jalen Hurts and how he would respond in this game. And, really early they trusted him, that he was back to 100% and right down the field, bang, 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 and accurate and all that. And that was really the only thing that we held back in this game because the Eagles had a better roster than the Giants. And we knew the Giants weren't going to play as well as they did last week against Minnesota. And the only factors, the X factors, were whether Hurts was going to be ready to be that kind of Jalen Hurts. And he was, and they just dominated him.
Hey, Mike, 5 weeks, okay? Let's talk about this. 5 weeks. And he played in a protective game 5 weeks is enough for him to get back. And I tend to believe that he was ready a lot sooner than they allowed him to be because they wanted to be a little more precautious with him. But in this game, this is a situation from here on out, you got to unleash him because he is a part of what makes the rest of the offense, whether you're talking the running game or the passing game or how you complement the defensive side of the ball, he's a big part of that. And if you're not going to have him doing what he does, you're putting yourself in an eerie position, of potentially losing a football game.
Yeah, listen, and let's talk about the defense because the other X factor was, Daniel Jones played a marvelous game last week. And so we thought the Giants had arrived at a different plateau with this guy. They came out, they passed the ball last week, they ran the ball. The Eagles really, if they have a weakness, it was stopping the run and stopping quarterbacks who ran. They shackled him right from the start, D-Gun.
Yeah, I want to give Jonathan Gannon something I haven't been able to do a lot this year. I got to give him credit for the scheme he put together. He called blitzes when he had to. They kept Daniel Jones in the corral. They didn't over-pursue for the most part. They did everything they were supposed to do. They basically neutralized Saquon. You knew they didn't have the weapons on the outside that would have been much of a threat in terms of the passing game with the secondary the Eagles have, and especially with C.J. Gardner-Johnson back in the mix doing what he does. So, Jonathan Gannon, we constantly question a lot of the calls that he makes, a lot of the things that he does. But I thought he put together the perfect game plan to defend a very mediocre Giants offense tonight.
Seth, you looked at their defense tonight. They had this quarterback on his heels from the opening series.
Well, in my opinion, they took care of what they needed to take care of, and they really, one of my keys, some of my keys to the game was getting the line of scrimmage and Saquon Barkley under control, and then not allowing Daniel Jones to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs out of the pocket. I think those are two big keys. Those are the two big components of this offensive team is how you control those two pieces. Now, Saquon Barkley, listen, he had 9 carries for 61 yards. That's 6.8 yards per carry. So that would tell me that they didn't give him the ball quite enough. But when you get behind the way they got behind, now you're in a situation where Daniel Jones got to put the ball up 27 times to only 20 carries. That's a byproduct of great defense on the Eagles' side and them being able to really, really dominate from the standpoint of third down situations. I mean, when you look at this stat line, it is just absolutely ridiculous. All game long, the New York Giants had 13 first downs. Now, understand, they only had 3 in the first half, all together. So when you're doing that to an offense, I don't care what weapons you have, if you can't sustain runs, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, and let's look at that first half. The Eagles' first 5 possessions, they did punt once. But first 5 possessions, they get 4 touchdowns out of it. And there was a really, to me, the turning point was where I thought they really overcame the Giants, and the Giants started to think, well, we're not ready for this team, was when Hassan Reddick got the double sacks in a row. They had a third down, and they stopped them there, and then on 4th down, they wound up giving them the ball back on downs, and they scored that touchdown. And there was a great call in that series when they went up 14-0. They went to a quarterback sneak alignment, and then they flipped the ball to Gainwell, and he got 14 yards on it. I thought it was a brilliant call by those guys. And to me, when they went up 14-0, you could just see the Giants go, uh-oh, we're not ready for this challenge.
Hey, Mike, can I say this?
Yeah.
For all them bitching and moaning that went on this week about how illegal it was, their 4th and 1, how apropos was it for them to act like they were going to do it and pitch the ball outside and get a first down the other way?
It was a great call.
I mean, it's really just like, just thumb your nose at everybody in the league that's complaining about, your scrum for first down.
Yeah, and they sent Daniel Jones back to the days when he struggled in this league, where he looked really uncertain. In the first half, he had a 36.3 rating. They had 3 first downs, and they generated 56 yards of offense. And that makes a quarterback think, my success that I had last week is not translating. I'm back to the Daniel Jones who threw 23 interceptions that first year.
Well, you look at the difference in the way the Giants ran their plays last week against Minnesota compared to tonight. Against a very porous Vikings defense, that zone defense that Ed Donatell likes to play. Daniel Jones was getting his ball out of his hands quickly in those quick slant routes because he was finding holes all over the defense. Looked at how many times he had to pat the ball and stand back there and then try to scramble to his right or to the left and then throw it away because he had nowhere to go with the ball because of the way Jonathan Gannon called his scheme tonight. Gannon took away every slant route basically that they could possibly try to throw at him. They blanketed the receiver. The leading receiver they had last week, Isaiah Hodgins, he was a non-factor in this game tonight. Nothing from him.
Yeah.
Darius Slayton, non-factor in this game.
A very well-coached game offensively and defensively.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, listen, I'll tell you this. If you look at how the Eagles' defense dominated, all you got to do is go back to the James Bradbury interception to understand they knew full well everything that the Giants were going to do and what their game plan was all about. The only way you jump that route, is 100% for sure that Daniel Jones is on a clock and he's going to get that ball out of his hands, and that's where he's going with the football. They very rarely even tried to push the ball down the field. So if that's the way that they're going to play, you're either man-to-man or you're zone match. And when you zone match, you're matching according to numbers and understanding that 1, 2, 3, that ball is out. And if it's out, play it.
Yeah, what's really funny about that interception? That was the possession they didn't score off of. But when the Giants got the ball back, They went 3 and out also, so it really didn't matter. But that was the one possession. As great as that play was, they didn't score off that takeaway.
We always talk about how football is such a game of physicality, but I think we also leave out the psychological aspect of the game itself. When a team comes out, first drive, 8 plays, 75 yards, 4:54 off the clock. The next drive comes out, they go 8 plays, 52 yards, 4:18. The next drive, they go
3 and out.
9 plays, 6 after that, the punt.
Yeah,
9 plays, 63 yards. Okay, so you can tell right then, Seth, that team was demoralized because the game was barely warmed up. They were down 21-0, and they could do nothing to stop this Eagles offense either through the air or on the ground.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you look at the first drive, out of those 8 plays, only 3 of them were runs.
Yeah.
They were all passes. When they got into the rest of their game plan, it was pretty evident that their game plan was to take advantage of the 27th ranked rush defense in the National Football League and dominate the line of scrimmage. So while you look at Jalen Hurts' numbers, they're not like overbearing. They're not anything special. He did throw for 2 touchdowns, two touchdown passes, but this is what I've been saying about this offense all year long. When they dominate the line of scrimmage and they're able to run the football early on and set the tone, when they go play action pass, read option, all the other stuff that they do, they're going to be able to get whatever they want. They're going to get whatever they want. The most egregious thing that they can do is come out and just throw the ball all over the map with zero disregard for being the number 1 or the number 3 ranked rush offense in the National Football League.
Yeah, they got 29 carries out of Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell. And I know it was Gainwell's night to shine. Miles Sanders quietly had 90 yards on 17 carries.
And he wasn't even the leading rusher.
He wasn't, and he didn't even seem to be a factor. But they just churned along and just kind of ground up this team. And really just a dominant performance. Now, the question is this the Eagles? Because at first I was worried about the 49ers coming in, or Dallas. I think it's going to be the 49ers. But I was worried about whether they would be good enough at this stage. Does this prove they are good enough beating the Giants this way?
The only problem I have with that, Mike, is that let's look objectively to why this team faltered down the stretch. Okay, Chris Sims came out and said that Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. Okay, after watching Gardner Minshew for 2 weeks in a row, we realized that Jalen Hurts is the system. Okay, so if we got a healthy Jalen Hurts and he's doing what he does, see, he helps every facet of his football team. He helps the running game. You heard Darryl Johnson talk about his conversation with Miles Sanders earlier in the week. And Miles Sanders says, when I got Jalen Hurts on the field, it makes my job easier. So the presence of Jalen Hurts and the possibility he may run the ball makes the running game that much better. They rushed for 268 yards tonight, okay? it makes the offense, it makes the wide receivers better. It makes the offensive lineman's job easier. And then when you have that kind of connectivity as far as the offense is concerned, imagine how that plays into, the complementary nature of how you play defense. Because I've said it before, I say it again. You know how easy it is to play defense when you got a 21, 28-point lead? It's easy to play. Because, they're going to every once in a while try to run the ball to keep you honest, but in order for them to truly get back in the game, guess what they got to do? They got to throw it. And guess who you are? You're the number 1 sack defense in the National Football League this year.
I totally agree with on Hurts. I mean, they are what he is, and we knew that. And we just had, the only question was whether he was going to be the same Hurts that we were used to seeing in that dominant fashion.
Nothing wrong with his legs.
No, but here's the thing. And I don't want to freak people out after a great win like this. But if the 49ers come here, they're a much faster defense than you saw what the Giants were today.
Right. That's going to be a good game. If the 49ers come in here, it's physicality against physicality, speed against speed. The big difference is you have Jalen Hurts playing in his backyard compared to this kid who's been the talk of the National Football League, Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy has never been on a stage like he would be on, coming in here for Philadelphia to win one game for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I'll put my money on Jalen Hurts in his backyard in a game like that.
And they're going to be favored. It'll be slight, right? They'll be favored at home. It'll be slight. I'm thinking the Eagles might be a 2-point favorite in that game if the 49ers survive the Cowboys.
Well, I think it all depends on it'll depend on how the 49ers play tomorrow. At this point in time, like if the Cowboys and the 49ers come out and play pretty even, then the Eagles will be favored. If the 49ers come out and just wax the Cowboys tomorrow afternoon or evening, whenever it is that they play, rest assured that the 49ers are going to come in here, and they're going to be a 1 to 2 point favorite. Because everybody thinks that, when you look at all the predictions and you look at the odds, they are the odds-on favorite. They've been the odds-on favorite for the last 6 weeks to be the team from the NFC to go to the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're coming here to be the favorite, though. I don't think they'll be the favorite.
I think it all depends on how they play.
The best they could do is a pick them here in Philadelphia.
Because I see what he's saying. He's saying basically, if the 49ers beat Dallas the way the Eagles just beat down the Giants tonight,
they're going to be favored.
Yeah, but they may be a slight, only because it's a much tougher opponent.
I just think like the home field advantage is not going to make the 49ers a favorite.
Yeah, it might be a pick-em game. It could be a pick-em.
At worst, it'll be a pick-em.
No, I'm telling you. Because if all you have to do is look at common opponents. If the 49ers are playing against the Dallas Cowboys, what's the Dallas Cowboys record? Dallas is what?
12-5?
Two games behind the Eagles? Yeah. Okay. And you just got done playing against a Giants team that coming into this game, they were 9-6-1, okay? We expected for the Eagles to handle the New York Giants in this manner, okay? We're looking at the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, it couldn't have played out any better for the Philadelphia Eagles, in my opinion, okay? Because we got a team that we knew that we could beat, and then you got Dallas that's got to get on the plane and fly to San Francisco and play one of the most physical games that they're going to play all year long. They're going to beat the hell out of each other. They're going to limp out of Candlestick Park or whatever the heck it's called, whatever it's called now.
Levi Stadium.
Levi Stadium. And then either Dallas is going to have to fly halfway across the country or San Francisco is going to have to fly all the way across the country to come here and play. Couldn't have worked out any better.
Right.
And I get it. And we'll talk about that, obviously, in due time. I just want to say one thing about the Giants, because we do the show at Ocean Casino. This is the third. There's a lot of Giants fans that come down here, obviously, Atlantic City. They come down from New York and North Jersey and the whole bit. This is the third time we've seen them limp out of this joint, right, this season. But to boot, I just want to say that you can't – the Giants had a cute season. I get it. But you can't be proud of the fact that in the fourth quarter, down 28-7, they punted on 4th and 6. They waved a white flag like I've never seen any team do.
Yeah. At that point, they had cashed it in, because I'm thinking, why are you not going for it? Even if you don't get it, you've got to try it to make it respectable. They waved the white flag and just said, you know what?
With 14 minutes left.
14 minutes left in the game. They basically just said, you know what, let's just get off the field and try to make this as respectable as possible. And oh, by the way, they still kept giving up points after that. So they knew they were beat. They knew they were beaten at halftime.
Hey, listen.
They knew they couldn't do anything with this team by halftime.
Six out of their first 10 possessions, the Eagles scored.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They did the smart thing. Punt the ball.
No, it's not you. Come on, Seth.
Punt the ball,
People,
man.
You're saying that?
Punt the ball.
It's 28
Because
to 7. What are you doing? You salvage your pride?
Because the next possession, the Eagles with their backups in, Kenneth Gainwell rips off a 33-yarder.
Well, who cares if you're going to give up another touchdown down 28 to 7?
Come on,
You're talking about get back in the game.
About 40. You're talking about 45, 52 points that you're potentially giving up.
So
They're
what?
not doing that.
What does it matter if they gave up 52 points?
Because you got to have some kind of pride when you walk out of here, man.
What is this, like a hockey game?
No,
seriously.
no.
You
But you can't.
Pride.
Hey, listen. The same way in week 1 when he pulled his kids to the side and asked them whether they wanted to go for 2 for the win or go for 1 in the tie, and whatever they chose, that's what he went. He could have destroyed that by doing what you're talking about tonight, by putting them in a position to be even more embarrassed on the national stage than they were. They weren't coming back to win that game. They were not coming back, Mike, to win that game.
Tried to get within 2
there's
touchdowns.
No try. Yeah.
All right,
they were like the little train that could, D-Gun.
You're exactly right. And they couldn't. They couldn't.
Giants fans, for the 3rd time, trying to I hope you get home safely. And the way you do that is to get your car insurance, right? So here's how to save 40% on your car insurance right now. Here's a message from our friends at Del Val Insurance.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
All right, so Lehocky Eagles postgame show and a route today that we're talking about. And one of the things, it's very interesting to me that, we looked at the mismatches that A.J. Brown would have a field day. A.J., after his first catch, really wasn't a factor in this game. They won this game without significant contributions from their top guy, A.J. Brown.
Did you see late in the game that coaches went over to talk to him? He didn't seem too happy about something. Now, I'm not going to read anything into it, but he only had 3 catches for 22 yards in this game today.
He was targeted 6 times.
They scored 38 points, and they didn't need A.J. Brown to put up any points on the board. I mean, how potent can an offense be?
Yeah,
Seriously.
I mean, see, this is the thing. The Eagles look so spectacular, and I go, okay, but the Giants were just beaten down. I mean, one team was so much better than the other, and I'm trying to read how that translates from this point on.
Well,
do I need another game?
That's the effects of having extended time off compared to playing on short week and not having a lot of time to rest, and it showed because it gave, like Lane Johnson, that much longer to get ready to play the game. It gave Jalen Hurts that extra week to rest that shoulder and get ready to play a game of this magnitude. And, you look at the Giants team, they won a game that a lot of people expected them to win, but they took some nicks, and sometimes it takes longer than 5 or 6 days for those bumps and bruises to heal to get on the horse again and play that next game. And they came in here like they were still trying to heal up from that Vikings game.
Yeah. Speaking of Lane Johnson, Lane will join us next for the first time in several weeks. Lane Johnson back with us, played the whole game. Looked early like he tweaked the groin a little bit, and he seemed to be favoring it, but he gutted through it. So we're going to find out from Lane Johnson how healthy he is and how this team now reacts to just a dominant win over the New York Giants in their first playoff game. It is the Lehocky Eagles postgame show live at Ocean Casino. I'm Mike Masnelli, Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, and Devin Caney going to join us a little later. Lane Johnson's up next. Don't go anywhere.